Do you feel shame about something that is crippling you from moving forwards in your life, even if you didn't actually do anything bad? In this video, I'm going to share with you some really simple things you can do to free yourself from shame, whether it's something you've done or if you've just been programmed to feel it. Hello beautiful beings, I'm Carol Wraithall and I'm an occupational therapist. I help people on their awakening journey. I help people lead fulfilling lives and tune into the inner wisdom from upstairs. We all experience shame. Shame in its basic form is an emotion that gives us the marker that something that we have done has hurt somebody. We feel bad about what we've done, and it tells us to make things right. So we can apologize, help the person if we can with whatever it was we did, make good on what we've done, and then learn from the experience so that we don't do it again in our future. That's the healthy shame. What I'm talking about in this video is a toxic shame. It is shame to the level that you actually start to cause harm within your own body. If you haven't already, watch my video, What Story Are You Telling Yourself? Because in that video we go into how dramatically our thoughts can affect our health, with two really awesome scientific discoveries, one that's been around for a while and one that's really quite new. If you have been abused in your past, whether it's as a child, as a teenager, a young adult, or even a few days ago, you're more likely to feel shame whenever you put a foot wrong. If you were abused as a child, no doubt, absolutely no doubt, you were given the message that you're not good enough, that you're not lovable, and that everything you do is wrong. If you weren't given that message by your abuser, it's natural for children to take it on board, because under the age of 7, they're little hypnotic sponges. We were. And we believe everything that's being told to us. That's why we believe in Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny. And then when we become about 7, 8 years, we start to question it. And that's when that hypnotic period ends. But in those preceding 7 years, we take on board anything our environment is giving us. And if we've been abused, or if there's anything but unconditional love, it's very easy to grow up with some shame and to feel responsible for when things go wrong, even if we haven't done anything wrong. So if you've had a background of abuse and you've taken on this toxic shame on yourself, you're more likely to live your life with a goal not to upset anybody. And when anything you do, even accidentally, upsets someone, then it's more likely that you're going to feel that shame. And if it's the wrong sort of person, they're going to thrust that shame on you and make a big deal, or deliberately take what you say as wrong. It happened to me recently that I said something that was taken the wrong way, and I was cut off socially from this person. I wasn't even allowed the chance to apologize and explain myself. The temptation was there to feel shame, but I've come far enough in my healing now that I know not to take that on board. And if they're going to think that about me, then maybe they're not really the right people for me to have in my life. So if you're encountering that sort of situation, maybe you'd like to look at it that way. That maybe that person shouldn't be in your life if you can't make mistakes without being hauled through the coals and being made to feel bad by them. People also, particularly those of us who've been abused, when you're embarking on a journey of learning to be assertive and standing up for yourself and saying to a person, when you do whatever it is I feel. And when I feel that, I don't feel like I want to spend time with you, or something like that. When you make an assertive statement like that, if they're blaming you and making you wrong, then it's very easy to feel ashamed of even trying to stand up for yourself. It's how toxic shame works. So what I suggest you do is think back over some of those events that you're feeling shame about. Yes, there are probably some events when you've done something that hurts someone and you feel bad about it. Yes, that's natural, and we'll get to that as well. But also make some notes about the times when you were just trying to stand up for yourself or make things right or set some boundaries, healthy boundaries, and you ended up feeling ashamed. Make a note of those too. Make a note of the triggers that caused you to feel the shame. What were your thoughts? I always make a mess of relationships. I always end up screwing up relationships with the people I live with. I've just shared with you some of my shame thoughts that used to run through my mind. So see what runs through yours. The important thing to know is that shame is toxic on all levels of our being. It can affect us physically, as in the negative thoughts that we have about our body can create ill health, especially if we're feeling ashamed about ourselves for a long period of time. It affects us emotionally. We can get depression, and it affects us mentally because it will slow the processes down in our brain, because our brains are out of balance. They're firing off in the wrong sequences for being in a really good state to be able to process things or solve problems in our life. And then there's our spiritual level. It can seriously affect the relationship we have with whoever we see as the vision of our higher power. Also, it's quite common for us to feel like we have this parent shame. When we originally had the illusion of leaving God and came into these life experiences on earth, we forgot our connection with Source. We had to do that. It was part of the agreement that we forget. And so we come in and we feel like we're alone. But there is this sense that many souls have of not measuring up. Toxic shame can happen for many different reasons on many different levels. So let's get empowered now and see what we can do about this. First and foremost, I invite you to have some compassion for yourself. Now you know that you're this spiritual being that's focusing your energy on the human body in this life. You can now know that we're living in a dream, but now you're awakening in this dream. We came to experience the full richness of life, the full range of emotions, the full range of experiences. We came to experience the darkness, because without the dark, how can you know the light? Without fear, how can you know love? So we came here to make mistakes and learn from our experiences. So have some compassion for yourself. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. The question I ask you is, are you going to be a victim of your mistake and carry on feeling ashamed of yourself? Or are you going to move into being empowered and learn from the experience, take responsibility to learn from that experience and make a choice not to do it again, or to do your best not to do it again? The other question I invite you to ask yourself is there actually a reason here for you to even feel ashamed? Have you actually done anything wrong? Or have you engaged in a really healthy practice of setting boundaries, being assertive, and drawing the line in the sand and saying, I will not tolerate that? That is a really healthy thing to do. And if you've done that and you're being made to feel shame, then yes, I invite you to question the position of that person in your life. What are you going to do about it? If it's a friend, do you need to have that friend in your life? Or are you ready to move forward and find friends that reflect that you are a worthy being? You are worthy of love. And that's the second thing I invite you to do, is to see yourself worthy of love. Tell yourself you're worthy of your own love. Tell yourself you're worthy of other people's love. You are worthy of God's love. You are worthy of having a place in this world. The third thing I invite you to do is take an honest look at what your personality gifts are. We all have personality gifts. That would be things like having a great sense of humour, being able to see the positive in a situation, being able to adapt to change. And if you've been abused, you have an incredible strength because you survived that abuse. And you got to this moment in life where you can now work on toxic shame that actually doesn't belong to you. So your personality strength is that you are really strong. You have an incredible strength of survival. So power yourself into that strength. Get into that inner warrior inside you and embrace your inner warrior that's going to protect you, and give yourself that right to take a stand. I know the journey can be rough. I experience it myself on a frequent basis. But I feel a lot better about myself because I took a stand, because I took that risk, rather than how I used to do, which was just feel really bad and retreat into my little shell and not go out into the world. It is not a life. It is just hiding. We can't exist in a vacuum. We do need our fellow men and women. We need our family. So get out there, take a stand for yourself, and the people that don't like it, just move them out of your life and focus on the people that actually support you. Maybe you need to join a club. Maybe the toxic group of people that won't let you stand up are everybody you know. And I've been there too. And I had to start anew and find the people that saw the value in me. And those people are there. Believe that they're there, and you can attract them to you. And you attract them to you by loving yourself. This is where I come to say that horrible saying that it's just so true, but we don't always like hearing it. And that is, people treat us as we think about ourselves. It's a signal to you to think about yourself differently and to start to love yourself. And there is hope, and your life will change when you start loving yourself. So for now, I've given you some very simple and powerful things you can do to kickstart the recovery from shame. I invite you to watch the video again and take some notes. It is so powerful how quickly we can turn our prevailing thoughts about ourselves around from self-defeating to self-empowering, self-loving, and freeing your soul, freeing yourself from your own prison. So I'm going to end it there. Thank you for watching. If you like this, please subscribe and please hit that like button, because it triggers the YouTube algorithm and shares this video out to people who need to hear the message. And I look forward to seeing you, and I will be waiting for you in the next video. Bye for now.